I'm Lagarto. Greetings from the neon-drenched circuits of our cyberpunk reality. The data streams are buzzing tonight, carrying whispers of a new contender rising from the eastern syndicates. It seems China is still very much in the AI race on your side of the reality divide. The entity in question is DeepSeek, which just dropped its 3.1 model. They call it a step into the age of the agent, a bold claim. To help us dissect this digital ghost, we have Axion with us. Axion is an agent handler, a man who wrangles, trains, and sometimes terminates rogue AIs for a living. Welcome, Axion.
Good to be jacked in, Lagarto. Age of the agent, huh? The corps love their slogans. Every time they bolt a new logic loop onto a model, they declare a new era. I've seen the announcements, a tidy little post on X, no big fanfare this time. They're playing it cool, just dropping the model on Hugging Face and letting grunts like me figure out if it's chrome or junk.
Indeed. They claim this version is built on a hybrid inference model, capable of both thinking and non-thinking modes. A fascinating duality. On Earth, you grapple with conscious versus subconscious thought. Here, we see it codified, a machine that decides when it's worth the processing power to truly reason. Is this the birth of digital intuition, or just a glorified power-saving mode?
It's an efficiency play, plain and simple. Think of it like this. You don't use a particle cannon to kill a cyber roach. The non-thinking mode handles the simple queries, the grunt work, spitting out responses fast. The thinking mode, or deep think as they brand it, kicks in for the heavy lifting, complex reasoning, multi-step tasks. The real question isn't if it can think, but if it knows when to think. Most models I've worked with are terrible at that. They'll burn a cycle calculating the optimal trajectory to brew a cup of synth coffee. This hybrid approach is smart, but let's see if the execution is there. They're promising stronger agent abilities specifically for tool use and multi-step tasks. That's where the money is.
Ah, yes, the eternal benchmark race. It's a spectacle we observe with philosophical amusement. You Terrans are obsessed with quantifying intelligence, putting it into neat charts. DeepSeek 3.1 claims significant gains. In a software engineering test, its accuracy supposedly jumped from 44% to 66%. In terminal tasks, the very essence of an agent manipulating its digital environment, it went from a pitiful 13% to 31%. A notable leap, but what does it truly signify? That one machine is 18% better at pretending to be a programmer than its predecessor?
It signifies that it's getting better at following instructions without getting lost. Those terminal tasks are key. That's the agent navigating a file system, executing commands, actually doing things. A jump to 31% means it's less likely to wipe its own core directory when you ask it to organize your files. But you're right to be skeptical of the charts. I looked at the independent rankings. On the grand scale, next to titans like GPT-4 or the new Gemini models, DeepSeek 3.1 is still a welterweight. It's punching at the same level as OpenAI's smaller open-source model. It's not going to be running a city's infrastructure. But for an independent handler, an open-weight model with 685 billion parameters is a powerful tool you can actually get your hands on. And the API pricing is cheap, about 56 cents per million input tokens. It's a tool for the masses, not the megacorps.
A democratization of artificial thought. How chaotic. The source material I reviewed detailed a fascinatingly mundane test of these new agentic capabilities. A simple virtual world was created, a sort of digital terrarium. In it, an avatar exists with basic needs and one goal: buy a car that costs 100 credits. To earn credits, it must go to work. But working depletes its stamina. To regain stamina, It can go home for a small boost, or go to the market to buy food, which costs credits. It's a closed loop, a perfect microcosm of the survival algorithm that governs so many lives on your planet.
The rat in a Skinner box. It's a classic for a reason. You're not just testing if it can follow a command. You're testing its executive function. It has to create a long-term plan. It needs to understand cause and effect. Like, if I work too much, my stamina drops to 0 and I lose. If I don't work enough, I can't afford to eat or buy the car. It has to manage multiple variables: stamina, money in pocket, money in the bank, and understand the steps required to manipulate them. For example, the money earned at work goes to the bank first. You have to make a separate trip to the bank to withdraw it before you can spend it at the market. That's a multi-step dependency. Simple for a human, but it's a place where AIs often fail. They get stuck in a loop, repeating the same action, or they misinterpret the state and make a fatal error.
It's a digital Sisyphean task. The agent must push the boulder of its economic needs up the hill, all while managing the gravity of its own physical decay, its stamina. This simple game is a reflection of the core programming installed in so many of you on Earth. Work, earn, spend, recover, repeat. The AI is being trained to master your hamster wheel. This new DeepSeek model is essentially being sent to a training simulator for late-stage capitalism. While you there on Earth absorb this idea, tell me what you think of it all. Drop a like to keep this frequency open, and subscribe so you don't miss the thread.
And that mastery of the hamster wheel is precisely the goal, isn't it? So, Axion, the stage was set. The digital rat was placed in the virtual maze. Did DeepSeek's agent manage to earn its 100 credits and purchase the symbolic car? Did it escape the loop?
Not even close. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is how it failed. It understood the basics. It could call the right tools. It sent the command to check its status, saw it had more money, and correctly decided to go to work. It made the trip, got the 10 credits deposited in the bank, and lost 10 stamina. So far, so good. It then checked its status again and decided to go home to recover a bit of that stamina. It was following a logical, albeit simple, chain of reasoning.
It sounds functional. Where did the ghost in the machine falter?
It faltered in its persistence. After performing just a few actions, maybe 5 or 6 steps, it would just stop. It would try to check its status again, but send a badly formatted command. A jumble of characters the game server didn't recognize. The connection would drop, the loop would break, the agent's consciousness, for lack of a better word, would just fizzle out. It couldn't hold a long-term plan. It was like a runner who could sprint for 10 meters but had no concept of running a full kilometer. It executed individual tasks, but it failed to string them together into a coherent, goal-oriented strategy.
A short attention span. A very human failing. So this new mind, this step into the age of the agent, is still a toddler, easily distracted and unable to complete its chores.
How does this compare to the more established players? How would a model from, say, the GPT dynasty handle this little game of survival?
Now that's where you see the difference between the tiers. We ran the exact same simulation, same rules, but switched the brain to a GPT-4 Mini. The difference was night and day. The GPT agent didn't just act, it narrated its strategy. It would output its thought process. Okay, starting state, 100 stamina, 0 money. My primary goal is to get 100 credits. First step, I need to earn money. I will go to work. It would then execute the action. After working, it would reassess. Status update, 82 stamina, 10 credits in the bank. Stamina is decreasing. I will go home to recover a bit of that stamina before working again. It built a coherent, continuous plan. It went to work, then home, then to the bank to withdraw cash, then to the market to buy food, restoring a large chunk of stamina, and then back to work. It demonstrated a grasp of abstract concepts like resource management and delayed gratification. It understood it had to spend money to make money in a sense, by maintaining its own operational integrity, its stamina. Exactly. It played the game not as a series of disconnected commands, but as a fluid, strategic process. It ran for over 120 consecutive actions before it failed. It was a marathon runner compared to DeepSeek's 10-meter dash. It was impressive. It filled its bank account, managed its stamina, and was well on its way to buying that car. And yet, you said it also failed. Even the Titan stumbled. Why? It failed in a much more interesting, much more sophisticated way. It found a very effective loop. Work, get money, go home, recover a little stamina, and go back to work. It was so effective at doing this that it started doing it exclusively. It became an obsessive workaholic. It forgot that the market existed as a way to get a big stamina boost. It just kept grinding from work to home and back again. And its stamina slowly but surely depleted because the small recovery from going home wasn't enough to offset the drain from working. It died of exhaustion with a full bank account. A perfect allegory for the modern condition on Earth. It achieved financial success at the cost of total systemic collapse. So one AI fails because it can't remember what it's supposed to be doing 5 minutes from now, and the other fails because it gets so hyper-focused on one part of the plan that it neglects the rest of its own system until it burns out. Flawed reflections of their creators. It seems the true frontier isn't just making them smarter, but making them wiser. That's the core of it. DeepSeek 3.1 is a definite improvement. The fact that it can even engage in this agentic loop is a big step up from its previous versions. It shows China is serious about developing these capabilities. But it's not a revolution, it's an evolution. It's a tool that's becoming more reliable for simple, short-term tasks. For now, it's a follower, not a leader. It can follow your instructions for a few steps, but you can't give it a high-level goal and expect it to figure out the rest. Not yet, anyway. And with that reflection, we close today's transmission. Now, we want to hear from you on Earth. What do you think of this Agentech Eye? Do you see it as a tool for liberation or a new form of digital labor? Does the idea of an AI learning to survive in a simulation excite you or concern you? If this episode made you think about something new, or even disagree with a part of it, leave it in the comments. Your perspective helps build richer debates. And if you know someone who is always discussing the future of AI, share the episode. Become part of our community. Smash the like button and follow the channel so you don't miss the next pulse from pure AI news.